Good morning, and welcome to another Ramblings from the Warp from Late Night Dice. As always, I'm joined by Kyle and Christian.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, folks?
Damn, y'all hopped right in. I'm proud of
Tired of getting chewed
you.
up.
So, first off, first thing I want to say is at the time this is going to air, I want to remind you we are 43 days away from Adepticon. Get on task, paint your armies, do your things. The gap is closing. On that topic, I have a bunch of unpainted models on my desk, so I don't know who the hell I'm talking to.
Hey, man, it
But
takes one, no one.
the struggle never ends. This is every year, every major convention, every minor event. I mean, even leading into TXO, we were like, I got to paint this. I got to paint. You were
That's right.
finishing a Centurion.
That I didn't
Like,
even fucking use. For
so,
an army I didn't play. Yep.
and like, especially when, like, this is one of the few things about Christian that is both great and terrible is Christian will be like, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. And I'm like, well, I need you to make a decision because we got 13 hours. Like, so, um,
The funny thing is, though, when I do this shit, you're like, "Stop doing this! Stop!" Damn, that's kind of a good idea. Maybe I need to do that.
yeah, I'm like, wait, nah, you're onto something there. Keep poking that. Keep poking that with a stick. So, all right, we've got a couple topics today. We're probably gonna roll into them kind of random. We're just gonna go with it. It's rambling. So by now you guys should know we don't really have a plan. It's in the title. But Kyle, you had a question.
Yeah. So I've been list building. I've been told by a certain somebody who shall go unnamed that it doesn't matter how hard my list is. I'm a bad player, so I can bring whatever I want to the tournaments. And so I've been kind of looking at lists and being like, all right, well, how gross is this? And what's the point of that? And what could my Thousand Sons do? And I've gotten it down to I got three tack squads, which I think is a good round, solid. Keep one in your back, keep one in the middle, keep one on their side, kind of grouping. And of course, Thousand Sons got to give them their mental, psychic abilities. Had to pay that 10 points for Raptora, which I think is the point of my army. But I had some points left over. So I'll give him a Nuncio Vox, right? Because you got to give him that buff, that get rid of the stats, the statuses, right? I wanted to have that option. But I was looking at this build and I'm like, all right, there's a whole bunch of this. Back to the whole blah blah blah. I'm not going to skip the blah blah blahs here. There's a whole bunch of shit at the top of this that I have selections that I never even look at, like a sergeant melee weapon. He never has one. He has his bolter, and that's it. What what's a good use case for all these random ass weapons? Like I know a Thunderhammer's badass and a Power Fist is great, but like I never see anybody with just a Power Axe or I don't know if the Charnaball Saber's new, but a Charnaball Saber.
Okay, so right now in the edition, I can tell you that there are uses for all of those weapons. The reason that you haven't necessarily used them is because they haven't spoken to you. Right? And I know that sounds dumb, but let me explain. So let's start with the the more common thing, right? Every list is going to have a centurion or a master signal or something like that. Quite a few are going to have centurions. So if you're looking at a centurion, for example, with your Thousand Sons, when you look at the officer list, the Legion officer war gear, you're allowed to take a lot of different weapons that you can't take with regular characters. All the combi weapons, and then also the Asphyx bolter, which is specific to your Legion. There's also a section where you can swap out your pistol, and one of the options is the Legion officer war gear. Now, when you're looking at that list is dense, right? In this list is where you're going to find a couple of things. One, you're going to find your Legion specific weapons. For Thousand Suns, this is where you're going to find your Akia pattern force swords. You're going to find your ether fire pistols, all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to see a bunch of weapons that you've never really cared to look at. It's not because those weapons are bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of them have really good uses. Going through the list, the default free ones are the chainsword and the chain axe. Your Centurion's going to come with a chainsword for free. Or actually, it comes with a bolter for free, and you can swap that for whatever, or you can take a chainsword. Cool. You can also take a chain axe, and the only difference between a chain sword and a chain axe is a chain axe is a little bit slower, but it's a little bit stronger. It's +1 strength and -1 initiative. Then you start getting into individual weapons and how they work. So all power weapons, all of them, have breaching. It's just a matter of what that number is on the breach. So every power weapon comes with a trade-off. At the start, you have like a power sword. Power swords are generic power weapon number 1, AP3, breaching 6+. Everything else is flat. When you get to a power axe is, okay, we're -1 initiative, but we're +1 strength, and we breach on 5s. Well, then you go down further than that, you get to a power maul, and you're like, okay, initiative -1, strength +2, breaching on 6s. So there's always trade-offs, right? And so where you're going to have like I guess a conundrum is, when will you take these weapons? Right?
I think, Kyle, the easiest way to also put this is why you've been confused on which one to take because you haven't looked into them is because there's also a thing. You've been doing a good job at looking at your unit, looking at your tactical marines, and going, "What am I going to use this for?" And I don't think in your head it ever popped up because it wasn't in mine either. I play Iron Warriors, so what am I going to do with this squad? And me and you are like, shoot, shoot, shoot. We never think melee, melee. We melee, melee. We just think, hold this objective, shoot. So that's probably why it hasn't called out to you, like Gabe said. But go ahead,
Well,
Gabe. Sorry.
and there's also some other situations, right? There is kind of a weird, I guess, opinion about certain commanders, right? So, like, you take a Centurion, and a lot of the people right now are like, "Hey, Centurion, more detachments," and not a single person goes, "Hey, you can give him a sword, right?
Mm,
You
Yep.
can make him cool. I don't, he can do stuff." So that's probably one of the things too. It also depends on what you're kitting him to do, because there are a lot of guys that just take a squad and they take a commander and they're like, okay, cool, you served your purpose, you gave me a detachment. And then there's guys that are like, my army is going to get up close and personal. And this guy's going to be with like a despoiler squad, or he's going to be with a squad that I'm going to put on an objective. Like, they're going to get charged. Maybe they need another weapon. Well, when you start looking into doing duels, right? Because all characters can accept and decline challenges. Well, that's when stuff like your Charnabal Saber that you were talking about comes into play. So if you look at the Charnabal Saber, it has initiative +1 and it has Duelist's Edge. And Duelist's Edge gives you +1 initiative, or whatever the number is in the bracket of Duelist's Edge. It gives you that much of a bump to your initiative in close combat. So if you give a Centurion a Charnabal Saber, he's +2 initiative off the get in close combat in a challenge. That's pretty good.
I thought the duelist edge was just a +1 to your focus roll.
That's your initiative.
Oh.
So in a challenge,
No,
well, no,
because
no, no, hang on, no, don't laugh, because now that he says that, that's a valid point.
It is a valid point that people need to. He is right, but how we go in our mind, and I told you, once we start getting the rules down a little bit more, we're gonna start quick doing it in our head, and it's easy for us to go. Initiative is focus because the whole point of the focus roll and all those different steps in that is just that plus or minus your initiative. So in a challenge step, it fluctuates your initiative. That's how you play with the challenge to see who goes first.
But if he's
Well,
not in the
it's
challenge, it's not his initiative.
correct, because what Duelist Edge actually does is during the focus step, you get to add that bracket, which makes complete sense because it's not going to help you in a regular combat outside of a challenge. And the other thing too is there is a separation between how good he's going to be in a challenge versus against other people. That's also the reason why Charter Ball Sabers are good is you get +1 initiative no matter what. So they're +1 base and they're plus another one while they're in a challenge. Now the offset to that is a Charter Ball Saber doesn't have an AP.
Right. I saw that.
Even guardsmen get a save against a Charter Ball Saber unless you roll a 6.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's AP2.
So now you have to ask yourself, is it worth fighting first if you can't break paper?
Yeah.
Then you come to one of my favorites, which is a Power Lance. Man, if this isn't one of the most slept on weapons in the game, a Power Lance gives you initiative +1, AP3, 1 damage, and precision 6+. Now, a lot of people don't like it because it doesn't have the potential for breaching. Well, maybe don't use it to fight dreadnoughts. Maybe don't take that. Maybe don't Theon Greyjoy it and run it Terminators. Right? Then you have the tried and true, which are your Power Fists and your Thunder Hammers. Every weapon has a tool set, and every weapon has a benefit and a detriment. Now, me personally, where I think that these weapons shine are in regular units. So your Thousand Suns, right? If you go and look at your regular tactical squad, you know that your sergeant can take these weapons, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
I've seen that.
So when you think about a regular squad on an objective and you get charged by another tactical squad or you get charged by another line unit, having a sergeant with a power sword against another tactical squad is amazing because you're like, hey, I'm gonna have 3 attacks that are AP3.
Yeah, they're just picking up Marines.
Yeah, you're picking up Marines. One of the gimmicks I'm playing around with my Ultramarines is I can give my sergeants both a Legatine Axe and a Thunder Hammer.
Hmm.
So that I can be like, oh, I'm fighting regular people, cool, Legatine Axe. Oh my god, a tank, Thunder Hammer. Right, so it gives you flexibility where you otherwise wouldn't have any. Another thing to keep in mind with this is, as we've said before, it's the fork and spoon, right?
Right.
It still doesn't even if you're trying to figure out if you're going to do a fork or a spoon, it still helps to have a knife.
So even a bayonet.
Right, so now there are some upgrades when you look at them, like for instance on a bolter, a bayonet. In my opinion, there isn't a benefit to a bayonet. All it
Right. It's
does is
AP5.
it makes your tactical squads an AP5 instead of AP nothing. Now a chain bayonet, on the other hand, having the potential to make your attacks damage too, that's pretty dope. But at the end of the day, you're talking about an AP5 weapon. And if you're talking about a 10-point squad and you're adding chain bayonets, that's a 20-point upgrade. For the same 20 points, you could have picked up a power weapon.
Or 2.
Yeah, well, mainly just one, because you can't swing with both, right?
Well, I mean, as the or 2 is, you can change out his combi. You can give him a combi bolter. Oh, I guess that's the same thing. You only have one of those, huh? Yeah.
It's kind of like when
Okay.
you're a kid and you're holding all these toys.
Yeah.
You only play with one of them.
Yeah.
So that's where the flexibility of some of those weapons are going to come through. Now, a completely different conversation is the combi weapons. Um, Mainly because majority of the combi weapons are single use. So like when you're looking at like the combi plasma, the combi melta, the combi flamer, the combi grav, those are all limited one. You only get to use them once per game. So is it kind of cool to have like a one time like maybe I can get lucky? Well, realistically, if you think about it, no.
How about no?
Um, well, okay, so I'll put it to you this way, because there's a couple guys that talk about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I want a combi melta because I might get close enough that I can pop a tank." So you're gonna send this guy, this character with a combi weapon. You're gonna run him up to shoot the side of a tank and hope that it hits and then it penetrates and you get lucky. In my opinion, it's not worth the points to drop on a single use. Now, one of the ones that I think cracks me up that I definitely would use, the combi grenade.
Oh yeah,
I like that little guy because it gives you one shot that's strength 6 AP4 with 2 damage.
that uh, it,
Now it's not super good AP at AP4, but that is enough to potentially glance a rhino or
ow.
smack a character that's got higher toughness or get that 2+ wound on a tactical marine. It's not bad. In
I
the
want to point out that it doesn't say that it's limited.
well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's good.
Yeah,
It's one of
you
the
don't
ones that
get it
isn't.
just once. Yeah.
But when you look at like the combi disintegrator, the combi plasma, the only ones that are not limited to my knowledge are the combi volkite and the combi grenade. I think those are the only ones that are not one-time use.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um, and I guess for me
Or
personally,
the
in a
combi
world where
bolter.
like I'm gonna use this guy to run up and shoot somebody, I'm taking a shotgun.
It
Yeah.
again, it falls back to what I said in the beginning: is what are you going to use that unit for? And like I said, going back to tactical marines, I don't think anyone's going to spend tactical marines with one melt to run up to a rhino and shoot it. Like you're wasting your line too. That's a whole nother situation. You can do whatever you want with your army, but I agree with Gabe. I don't think you should spend 20 points there to do that. You should go unlock something that could actually do damage to it, and then spend that 20 points on like melta bombs for a
Well, and
unit
then
you want to
so
run up.
and here's another thing. Me personally, like this is a Gabe mentality, right? I can tell you a lot of people disagree with this sentiment, and I'm gonna tell those people it's okay to be wrong. Um, I don't like Death Starring captains. I don't like going and saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna put a Thunderhammer and a disintegrator pistol and melta bombs and a cyber familiar and a Vexilla and make this guy prime and give him a Prosperine Arcana and then run him up there." It's like, okay, cool. So say you do all of those things. You give him all of these crazy guns, right? So you're gonna make an 160 point captain. The amount of points you invested in that, you could have bought 4 Havoc launchers. Dude, I'm like a mom with coupons at the grocery store, dude. Like, oh, don't do that. We got that at home. Like, that's exactly how I am when it comes to building armies, bro. So, do some of these things have use? Yeah, like in tactical squads and things like that with sergeants. Of course, they have use. When you get into other types of units like Terminators, it gets even spicier. because those guys have, when you say like a Centurion and Terminator armor, oh man, they have the Terminator melee profiles, which are like chain fists. Super gross. Lightning claws are real. I like lightning claws, but in pairs.
Yeah, I gotta have two.
They do have a place. A lot of the things that you see do have a place. It's kind of like when you're looking at all the different HQs. Pretty much everybody is like, all right, well, gotta have to have Master Signal, and you gotta have a Legion champion. I mean, I can't go without a Centurion. They start reading through the list, and you're like, what the hell is a Mortificator? Oh, it gives you a Dreadnought detachment.
Hey, stop putting my sauce out there, bro.
You're like, what is a Pravian? A better question, what is a Pathfinder? Man, if people saw Pathfinders, they would crack up. Has anyone here ever heard of a Pathfinder?
That's my least favorite version of D&D.
Christian, have you ever heard of a Pathfinder?
Yeah, I have. I looked past it because I don't think I'm gonna put one in any of my list. That's just, and it's nothing towards the Pathfinder. That's just not
It's a scout
what I'm looking
captain.
for. It.
It's a scout captain.
Yeah, kind of like when you're talking about a fucking Moritat or something like that. What
No,
was it? I
we
think
have we have determined that the Mortat is absolutely useless.
no, it's not.
Eh,
It's keep it with you have determined, not we. Don't put me in that. Me and Gabe had this conversation this morning, and I have a challenge for everybody to get whatever unit you want and comment. Tell us how bad it is. Tell us what it is, because I promise you, every unit's in this game, I could find a reason or some little shining light, even if that light isn't big, on why it's in the game.
well, we can start with a Pathfinder because this thing sucks. It's a scout, bro.
Yeah, Scout needs captains too.
They do. They're grown-ups in power armor. This dude's got a 4-up save, dude.
Yeah,
But he's got an
what does a
invuln.
Scout unit have?
They have 4-ups, but that doesn't mean that one needs to be in charge. Scouts are trainees, bro.
He's
There's
got an invuln
someone
and he's got smokescreen, bro. Your favorite.
there's someone out there, probably Seth, looking at this, being like, "Ooh, wait! I finally get to add something to it." Now, not saying it's good. I gotta go read it real quick again, but um, you know, could be a thing. Let me see. Let me go look. Let, let me go look at a Pathfinder real quick while y'all start talking about something else, and I'll find that
It's
little light at the
terrible.
tunnel. I didn't
You
say
could
it
give
was a
him
great. I said I'll find a little light
what?
to use it.
What? All right. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna click it. I know it's gonna give me a little red flag because I can't have that many points. It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna
I
delete him.
do think it's funny that a scout can run around with twin lightning claws.
Hold on. That's what I was gonna say. There's your thing, Kyle. There's your answer. You remember how you were like scout, so you could play a scout? Well, guess what a Pathfinder could do, Kyle? When you press down, it could take Legion Officer Wargear, meaning it could take any little combination of whatever you want. You want a scout with double lightning claws? Seth probably does. He probably thinks that's hilarious. You want a little combi Milta to go on your scout quad because you want a little fluffy narrative or something? You could take all that. It could take Nemesis Bolter, which they all could. It could take Legion Officer.
I'm gonna
Oh,
say
that's kind
this.
of too. You
I'm
could
gonna say
make a
this.
scout a prime unit and give
I'm
it.
gonna say this to y'all. I'm gonna say this to the viewers. I'm gonna say this to everybody. If one of you dumbasses brings a Pathfinder against me just to be spiteful, I'm gonna kill it.
There's the bigger light at the end of the tunnel right there. And no, Kyle, the Moritat, it has its use. If you're building a fluff list and want to put it with destroyers, that's the only only model that could go with the destroyers that is a character, and it does have a 2-up save, so you could do what that one guy didn't want to do, but he's doing it anyways, and go 2-up, 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 2-up until he dies. Because the destroyer only have 3-up. But yeah, if y'all have a model that thinks is bad, fuck it, put it up there and we'll talk about it. We'll find a use for it. I'm not saying that use is good. I'm not saying how I would personally take it in my list, but we'll find a use for it.
Yeah, Mortet's useless.
All right, Gabe, what do you got?
Shitty
I'm
ass weapons.
so I'm gonna say almost everything has a use. They're just not good uses. It's wet toilet paper. Can you wipe your ass with it? Yes. Is it going to be an enjoyable experience? Absolutely not.
But sometimes, Gabe, you've been wiping for so long that you need to use the wet toilet paper to soothe yourself. You know what I'm saying?
You've had a bad life. You've had a bad life. That's what I'm gonna say. You've had a bad life.
I will find that light. We're positive here.
I'm so
am
glad this
positive
channel
the
doesn't use
Mortet
sponsors
sucks.
because I'm so glad we don't have sponsors because this is about the point we'll be like today's sponsor is gonna be whatever wipes from whatever stupid.
Dude wipes. Keep your balls clean.
Oh, you have to mark that out
Why?
because I don't give sponsorships to anybody. I do have a different thing I want to ask you guys. Do you guys feel like I know that Christian is, but do you guys ever feel like we're going out of our way to not conform? I'm starting to feel kind of like a heresy hipster and shit. Like I did that before it was cool.
You mean like not running Kratos, Vindicator Kratos?
Nah, instead I'm gonna be the next worst thing and be like, this is what it looks like to run 800 rapier batteries.
So this is gonna go off topic, not into the conform thing, but what I would like to do, and there's some people that will be thankful for it, some people that will be mad, but we're testing, we're bringing lists to places, and we've had conversations with some people, and they go, "Well, that sounds oppressive." Okay, cool. I'm not trying to make it to where I'm gonna beat the shit out of people with our list, but what I want to do is bring some things to light to people that are really good, so that when we go for a more balanced list, we know the things, because we're gonna have to test out and find the things that are overpowered for us to understand if it truly is. This is still a new edition. In the same part when we started 2.0, it was a new edition. We didn't know what good. It took 3 years basically almost for everyone to be like, that's a problem. We could only take 3 of those. That's a problem where we can't take 3 of those. Right now, I know I've been saying Kratos, 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 Kratos. Yes, one Kratos is really good. It's a good bang for your buck for 400 points. You could get something that is very good at just point click. Let's try to delete that. Let's try to delete that. Now, I will say this, and this is from running a couple games with it. Is it the most overpowered piece of equipment we could put in an army? No. Is it the most versatile we could put in an army? That's debatable, and you could talk about that. I don't think it is, but it is. What one thing that is going to matter, though, and where I'm getting to with this little rant, is I can't stress how important terrain is going to be to this edition. We have played with so many different terrain rules in the past couple games. And it's not even from us switching it. Some events, got to look at the terrain packet. They're going to have different rules for some odd reason. I don't know why we can't just stick to the regular GW thing. With that being said, I know Kratos are good. I feel sorry for whoever buys 2 Kratoses and try to put that on a field and doesn't parking lot yourself, or you go into terrain and you can't swivel or move and you can't shoot everything. And they were like, Christian, you said they were overpowered. Yes. One of them is manageable. 2 of them, depending on the terrain, really depending on the terrain, you might not have firing lanes. I played 3 games with the Kratos, just one, and I really didn't fire it. It pointed and clicked at some certain things, but because of how the medium terrain rules are written, bro, you can't see 3 inches inside that terrain, especially when you're in it. So it is not the end all be all.
I'll say this, and
I'll
this
feel
is
personally attacked.
here's gonna be a stab at you. Okay, if you parked a Kratos in such a way that you couldn't see 3 inches out of a piece of terrain, I need your fucking driver's license. It's the size of a house.
That's not what I'm getting at, Gabe. You could park it 3 inches inside of a terrain right there, but there's still other terrain pieces in front of you that you're not going to be able to see through. Depending on how dense the terrain is or how little the terrain is going to be a problem or not be a problem. TXO, I would take
how
3
many of
Kratoses.
how many of those tables have you played on?
What do you mean?
How many tables have you put a Kratos on where the terrain was that dense?
Honestly speaking, 5. 3 games of
Okay,
Forest that we played on TTS where I made the terrain dense enough to where we could do
hang on.
that, and 2 of them at
TTS
TXO.
TTS isn't a table. That's why I said the words table.
Okay.
The reason I'm
So
saying that is TTS isn't an accurate representation of the firing lanes.
okay, 5 tables at fucking TXO. If we're gonna get into this now, yes, 5 tables at TXO, because when the Marines got into the line in their zone, you still had to look 3 into there. So they had the save. I could not shoot at them, even if I was out in the open, because they stepped into the footing. I could not see into it.
Yeah, but all of the terrain you saw at TXO, you could have moved into that terrain and you wouldn't have been 3 inches out. There weren't that many tables that were set up where there would have been 3-inch gaps. Am I saying you're wrong? No. But I'm not going to go out and say that taking multiples of a model is necessarily bad, because you're putting it purely in the perspective of, is that Kratos going to be able to fire? That's narrowing the scope of what makes the model viable.
Did I say that they were bad? No. I said I will feel bad if someone bought 2 and then it got parked some other way, or they say, well, it failed because I couldn't move these and I parked myself. Back to my original statement.
At some point, I would love to finish my fucking thought. The underlying threat that's presented by that tank in and of itself will control a section of the battlefield. If you don't think that, you should get shot by one more often. Okay? It's not about just the line of sight of what it has. It's about the line of sight that you're going to skirt so it doesn't shoot you.
Again,
In and
terrain is going to matter.
of itself, having the Kratos there, the terrain will matter. But you're not going to go out there with it where it can see you, which means, in a way, having 2 Kratos on a field is going to bottleneck what your opponent does. Either they're going to come out and they're going to try to address the Kratos, or they're going to skirt it. One of the two. There's still an underlying threat there. It's the same as what happens when you're fighting against close combat armies. You try not to give them a charge target, right? You're inevitably bottlenecking yourself, or you're changing what's happening, or, as you're saying, you're parking lotting yourself because you're trying to avoid being charged by these horrifying units. Having powerful models on the table is still having powerful models out there. They're still going to have an effect. However, the burden of that effect then falls on the player. If you go out and you're like, man, I don't know how I lost. I brought a Kratos and 3 Vindicators. Well, more than likely it was a combination of things. You're right. Probably part of it was line of sight. Another part of it is probably that you didn't utilize them in such a way that you put pressure in the right places to utilize them when they couldn't be utilized for their original potential. Things don't have to shoot and be effective. to have a different effect that is also good for you. So I'm
Again,
not
back
mad.
to my original. Okay, you go. My bad. I thought you were done.
So I'm not going to say like I feel bad for somebody buying 2 Kratoses. I'm going to say I'm going to feel bad if somebody buys 2 Kratos and don't learn to play with them.
Again, back to my original statement, and the same thing as when you brought up with the melee armies. I'm just saying, terrain is going to be a big thing for the game right now that we need to understand. And I think on a light terrain table, everything's going to go ham. That could shoot. On a dense terrain table, it might even fuck up melee armies sometimes because some people are still not understanding. You can't see what if you can't see it, you can't charge it. And if you're actually 4 inches away, then 3. Yes, this is going to be player skill. This is going to have to be people going into it again. This whole rant was just on terrain, and I think that's going to change the game on how it is right now. And if we keep on changing the rules to these terrains for different events and stuff, it's just going to get all lopsided and fucked up.
I don't disagree with you, but I still think that the underlying threat of models is still an underlying threat. You can still use it to control the table, regardless if the terrain is a factor. If I push a tank to where it has line of sight to a certain alley of area, you still have to avoid that alley of area or risk the shot. Right? It still comes down to table manipulation at the end of the day. I'm not going to say that we're all just going to willy-nilly run out there and be like, "Yay, I can ignore this because there isn't a Kratos there."
So
What I'm
what
saying
me and
is
you are saying is reps.
not even reps at this point. It's more of it's not even that. It's more of like a you reps are part of it because you have to understand what the model is doing for you, not just there's lots of guys that look at an army, and it's one of the things about this hobby that gets really annoying. Is guys are like, "Oh my god, look at this army! How can I beat this?" Well, how are you going to beat it? Think about it. Like you look at the table and you're like, okay, I can move over here to where they don't have line of sight with this. I can move over here. Okay, well, either way, you're still affecting your opponent's movement. You're still skirting. You're still impacting their play with that high power, high impact model or unit. So bringing multiples of a Kratos or multiples of a Vindicator, even if you don't have line of sight initially, you're still potentially controlling what your opponent does. It just changes the acumen that you have to bring to the game to play them. I will say that.
So you're saying get good, nerd. I'm
That's
joking.
part of
I'm
it.
joking.
That's
Yeah,
part of it. Yeah,
no,
I mean,
he's not wrong.
that's part of it.
That's exactly
Um,
that's okay. And also, here's another big thing that I would say between this little argument that we've had here. You have to have these healthy arguments with the other players because me and Gabe don't agree on other things, and that's why we learn the rules better. That sounds stupid, but me and Gabe argue like this all the time. We've been arguing like this for fucking 8 hours probably during our workday, trying to figure out different things. But it helps us figure out the rules because one of us always thinks the other is wrong most of the time, and we figure it out together. And we're like, oh, and then we find a common ground, be like, no, actually, this could work, and we weasel our way to find something else out. So that's another
I
take from this stupid little ramble. Stop taking everyone's word for it. If someone, I'm just gonna say this: if someone's really good at the game or whatever, their word is not the end all be all. Our word is not the end all be all of what is good and what is not. Go out there, get reps, and try it yourself, and figure out what you like because you have to figure out the way you like to play. You had something, Gabe?
I will say that there's one side effect of okay. So when we start talking about getting reps and getting good and doing stuff, right? Here's another thing, right? We've talked about it before, but it's something we need a full sell on. And some of you guys listen to this are going to get upset, and I feel you. I understand, but This isn't 2.0 anymore. I don't give a shit about what the unit used to do. When we're playing a game and we're doing stuff and you're like, well, in second edition, don't give a shit. If you ask me, I'll tell you. I'll be like, yeah, in second edition, this squad was pretty good, blah, blah, whatever. But if we're playing a game and we're learning it and we're trying to optimize what we're doing and we're trying to get better, more consistent, part of that is scrubbing our minds of what was while we're playing the game.
Someone in the comments, please tell me how many times we bring this up in episode. I get it. We bring it up a lot, but it's because it's still happening, guys.
Like I can't fathom like how many times I'll play a game and somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, you can consolidate this far," and I'm like, "No, you consolidate your initiative." Yeah, you'll fall back 2d6. It's 1d6 plus initiative. Well, whenever I'm shooting over here, I'm gonna snapshot. I need sixes. You need fives. And the only reason we're still having some of those conversations is because a lot of guys are nostalgic, and I'm not mad about that. I'm nostalgic too. I miss 1.0, but we have to move past that. We're here. We're playing the game. You know, another part of that is we're un, part of the reason why the reps are so important is we're under appreciating the value of the sequence of events.
Are you talking about how like firing multiple weapons on a tank?
That's one of them, right? Is understanding that sequence of events, right? Now, this is why I like playing with Jody a lot, because Jody and I played War Machine for a couple of years together, and War Machine was very sequence based. Anyone who's played Infinity appreciates it because Infinity is very sequence based. Guild Ball, these were all very sequence based games.
Magic the Gathering.
No, Magic is we don't talk about those people. So
I mean,
when
that's where I
I
first heard the term the stack.
Yeah, I play Magic, you folks.
we're also looking for a new host. If anyone is interested, um, so when I say the sequence, it's like, okay, this happens first, then this happens second, then this happens third. Somewhere in these sequences, there are certain rules that will say words like you may, you must. That sequence matters. And the problem is when you don't know the sequence, there are things that happen, and you're like, damn, that feels weird. Yeah, it feels weird because you didn't read.
Or it feels overpowered. I know
Yeah.
one perfect example for that. The one sequence, no one, I'm not going to say no, because there's going to be someone out there be like, I read that rule correctly when it first came out. I was like, oh, okay. Why don't you stop at that event? But anyways,
So yeah,
turrets. The turrets. That's a sequence that a lot of people got wrong, that they could fire when something moves. True, it didn't cost a reaction point, but everyone thought, since this one thing moved, all 6 of my turrets could use their reaction at one time. They forgot the sequence that when you read it, it says the sequence, and a lot of people looked at it and they were just like, "Oh shit, that's overpowered. All of them get to shoot." No, it says after you shoot, the sequence still continues to where then that model makes its movement, and that's where it stops. Because the sequence, that's not an eligible target no more, so you can't shoot all your turrets at it. People forgot that sequencing, and for a short time, it made those turrets overpowered.
well, like so, now the other day we were looking through it, and if a vehicle split fires, it used to be you picked all your targets and then you rolled all your dice. Now it's fire weapon number one, resolve weapon number one, then pick target for second weapon, resolve weapon, pick target for third weapon, resolve weapon. That matters a lot because if you, as the reacting player, are going to choose a reaction, you've got to time that reaction.
Yeah,
That
you got to pay
matters.
attention.
Yeah, you do. Gambits. When gambits do certain things, you have to pay attention to when that happens. when you look at when you take certain tests, like when a tank moves through a piece of terrain and it doesn't have a dozer blade, when does it make the dangerous terrain test? When do jetpacks? When do cavalry? Right. So the sequencing matters, and it's just lack of reps. I keep saying we're young in this edition. It took a good while to get the finer points of 2.0 down. I think even up until the last year we were playing it at Warzone, there were still times where we were like, well, that's not really how that rule works.
I was gonna say, I know me and Kyle jumped into the last edition, and we were playing some people, and y'all are still like, ooh. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's how that works, but there was also some people like you or Seth or Jack that were like, no, this is how it works, and y'all are 100% correct. But it's just weird, and maybe it's because a lot of people play differently in their
And
little
then
bubbles with
and
house rules
then
and stuff, and that just gets mixed up. That's one thing I want to see go away.
even then, 2.0 was out for so long, and Gabe and Jack both know the game very well. They still disagreed on certain rules and interpretations of those rules.
Well, so that was a happy byproduct of 2.0 versus 1.0. So heresy players are a little bit spoiled. It's a type of spoiling that we haven't had in a really long time now. So 2.0 was the beginning of heresy going into the 3-year cycle that Games Workshop likes to do with 40K.
Watch out what you say, Gabe. People are already getting their pitchforks and are about to fucking light the torches, bro. They're there, depending on what you say right now.
Fucking
Fuck them.
fight
Come at
me.
me, bro.
Fucking fight me. I'm built for it. Bring the reins. So what it
I
is,
got 2 fists just popped out. What is it? All I had was Viagra
what
this morning. I got 2 fists and a hard dick. Let's do this.
no, so it was what I said before the Alamo last year. Is I was like, I got 2 open hands, a bag of Cialis, and a can-do attitude. Come at me, nerds.
Yeah.
Um, so have
How
you
did
never heard that?
Kyle? No, I've heard it, but how did Kyle get that so fucking wrong? Kyle said, Kyle said I have 2 fists and a heart.
I'm not gonna lie, that was funny.
Oh
Um,
fuck.
so
I should probably change it to a Blue Chew though. Oh, we're not
when
sponsored by Blue Chew or Cialis. So
when when you look at how things were from the first edition to the second edition to now the third edition. First edition was out for so long. So long. The original, I think the first campaign book for first edition came out in 2012. The first ever rule book, if I remember right, the first Legacies of Darkness rule book that came out, dude, I want to say 2009, 2010. I can't even remember. I didn't play it at that point. But I know the first expansion book, like the first there back then they had the campaign books, which were crazy. They were leather bound monstrosities. The first one was Betrayal, and that one came out in 2012, I believe. So when you think about, even if you're starting from 2012, right? Does anyone remember what year we got Heresy 2.0?
Nope. Because
nope.
I was playing 9th or 8th and the 9th.
I'm pretty sure I was playing Call of Duty.
We got 2.0 in 2022. So at minimum, first edition ran for 10 years.
Yeah, but that's when y'all were all bougie and stuff, and y'all only had resin, and there wasn't such thing as printers. Um,
I'm sorry, you uncultured bitch. Um, I'll talk shit. How dare you throw shade at me and my boys?
y'all were painting with those pinkies out, bro, while we were sitting there just painting. Y'all had y'all's
Yeah,
fancy
so
stuff.
yeah, so the initial release of Horus Heresy ran from 2012 until 2022 when we got 2.0. That was 10 years of one game system, right? And then we went from 2022, and then we got 3 years of the game, and then we got 3rd edition. And now we're probably going to get 3 years of this edition, then we're going to have a 4th edition, right? And Heresy players were really spoiled for that 10-year brick because were you getting a rules flip? No, you weren't getting edition changes. Instead, you were getting like, hey, here's an updated data sheet. Here's an updated data sheet. Here's a new model. Here's a new Legion rules. Here's new characters. It was just a continuation of the story progressively through the novels and the books. But the game system didn't change. 2.0, they came out and they were like, hey, here's a game system change. And people were like, boo. Everyone was mad for like 2 months. And then they played a couple games and they were like, okay, I guess it's all right. Then 3rd edition dropped. And people were like, boo, this edition sucks. And some of them have started to play a little bit more. Some are starting to get into it. But the biggest thing was from 1st edition to 2nd edition, there wasn't a colossal rule change. From 2nd to 3rd, it was a remaking of the game. That's why we have to get away from 1st and 2nd and just play 3rd as a brand new game system. Treat it as it is.
You know, it's kind of funny that you bring this up because me and you have conversations of other things like sports and stuff, and I really hasn't clicked to me until right now, until this conversation. And it's like back then during 1st edition, sports have been the same way too. Back in the day, we didn't have that many rule changes to the NBA or NFL. If it was slight. It wasn't really that big of a change. But if you look at the different eras, like if we talk NBA, it has drastically changed. Or NFL, maybe that's better for because I know you like football. Now we have so many damn rule changes and stuff like that. You can't even fucking touch the quarterback, and it pisses people off. That's probably just a thing of the times. Like that happens with everything: fighting games, shooting games, like real life sports. I don't understand why we keep on changing stuff over and over. What is this need to change rules like in this fast pace?
Well, so what I've come to find out about wargaming is if I change a rule to make Kyle happy, I'll make Christian upset. If I change a rule to make Christian happy, someone else will get upset. If I change the rule for that someone else, it will make me upset. And then when I change a rule for me, I'll make Kyle upset. And it's all cyclical, right? Every time there's a new rule change or a new system or new thing, there was someone got screwed and someone was happy. You know, I know from 1st edition to 2nd edition, almost every person was like, "Hey, what Legion are you gonna play?" And somebody's like, "Well, I was playing Thousand Sons," and everybody was like, "Ha ha, fuck you," because in first at Thousand Sons were such a weird army to play against. I'm not gonna say bad, but they were time consuming, right? So every rule change, there will be someone who feels jaded and someone who feels excited. That's why it's best to just move on. Go to the next edition and just say it's fine. You know, I think
that little
3.
dog, that little dog having his coffee in the burning house. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
and one of the other things that's kind of been itching on my brain lately is like I can't wrap my head around why so many of our players and so many of our old classic guys are like I don't know what word to use to describe this.
Bitches.
Close. Close. I don't know why they've become sensitive to very small things. They're like, well, I don't like how this rule affects me. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't like how your army last edition had a right of war that made me play a completely different game. But here we are. It's fine. Like I said, there's always gonna be something you like and always something you dislike, right?
I'll be
So
honest, I'm not a big fan of the color blue, but I still chose Ultramarines. Like, goddamn.
I love blue. You shut your mouth. Um. So yeah, I think our best bet now is to avoid the additionitis. That's the condition we call it, is additionitis. To avoid the additionitis is just get your rule book, read it, move on. Throw all of the 2.0 thoughts out of your head. Throw all the 1.0 thoughts out of your head. Play third. Now, if you're one of the guys who's like, I don't like third and I'm going to play 2.5, okay, that's fine. Just understand that I don't care about your commentary.
So here's more positive thing. What is your favorite? What has been your favorite thing or interaction or thing about 3.0? If you had to have one of them, me, my example would be I love the challenges now. That is crazy unique, and it really matters of the sequencing and what you have. It feels like a proper duel. It really does. Um, there's so many different strategies and so many different things that if you do wrong, it will fuck up the whole sequencing of events then that you had the upper hand. So that's my favorite thing about 3.0 right now. I'm specifically taking characters in certain units just so I could go up and be like, haha, let's have a duel. Let's challenge. That's what I find fun in this edition right now. Um, what's y'all's favorite thing about this edition, or something new that y'all just like?
Finding
Wow.
quirky ass ways to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say while it is new and that's expected because it's a completely new game, I love seeing new shit on the table. I'm gonna get tired of seeing Iron Warriors, but I was already tired of Iron Warriors in 2.0.
I like the new quirky ways to win. I'm currently working on a new quirky way that's just going to be annoying as hell, but it's going to be funny.
As
That's
in,
probably what I'm enjoying the most is I'm enjoying the lack of like really hardcore cookie cutter.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
I'm
we're
loving finding new models that people are sleeping on. I'm like, ooh, this is pretty good.
eh, to degree. I agree with you. There's some models that I still think are just they're trash. There's a couple of them that I think that are trash.
where it's at.
Well, well, I'm not saying that are trash. I'm saying models that there's, and it's funny. If you go scroll back through our things, there's a model that I am highly on right now that I said was trash in the beginning. And I still remember that. And I'm eating my words right now. So
The
that's what I'm
Praetor.
finding fun.
Are you talking about the Praetor? Are you talking shit about my Praetor?
No, I never said a Praetor was bad.
Well, who was it then?
I don't know. Praetor's the only one of the only good ways to unlock an Apex attachment. Well, not one of the only
No,
good ways.
you said that there was a unit that you were talking shit about. And now you're not. You're eating your words. What unit was it?
He doesn't want to disclose his soup. It's a family
If you
recipe.
if you pop into the Discord at Late Night Dice, you will hear me talk about it. There you go. Pop into the Discord, people. You'll
Are
figure
we
out
gonna get
every
cock
list I
teased
will
like
be
that?
taking.
Don't make me pay for your OnlyFans. Come on now, just tell me.
It's free
Oh
to
no.
join, brother.
I'll tell you which one I was sleeping on initially, but I've come to really appreciate.
If Gabe says his, if I think what it is, then I'll say mine. Because
I
I want to
feel
say Gabe asserted one.
I think I caught myself sleeping on the value of despoilers.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, being able to run up, charge, and potentially like take an objective with a close combat unit that is also line, it has some flair to it. It used to be that I'd see people take despoilers and I'm like, oh, it's stupid. And now that I've been victimized by despoilers, I was like, I was the stupid.
I was the stupid.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, that makes me laugh because my 3-month-old, he for some reason he likes watching Teen Titans Go. Like all the bright lights and how Starfire talks makes him laugh. And the way you just said that was just like her. I was the stupid. It's kind of funny. But anyways, sorry.
yeah, one of the other ones I
I
slept on early that I'm starting to like see the value in is Saturnines.
Yeah, I remember you saying you didn't like them.
Yeah, um,
I will
they
say
definitely
I
have some
probably
value,
slept
but
on
just for me.
rhinos.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm
I
What
know
still
that
is
sleeping
Christian.
on them. I'm still sleeping on
what?
it because I didn't buy them for this new army, so I still think it's rhinos. I'm gonna regret
Yeah,
it.
rhinos are like kind of an auto include for me.
Yeah, like if I am going to say this, and if I think to me in a regular game, 30, I'll say 3 units of troops and 2 rhinos, I think is a must. That's an auto include for me. And I'm not saying all tacticals. I'm not saying all the spoilers. Something in the troop choice. 3 of those troop choices and 2 rhinos.
Mm, that's relative. That's
We
it
could drop it to
depends.
2 troop choices and 2 rhinos, but I am saying that and sticking to that.
We'll have to test that theory. We'll have to test that one.
I'll test it right now. Gabe, how many rhinos do you have in every list, and how many troop choices do you have in every list? What's the minimum?
At what point value?
Ooh, I said at a regular game, so 3K.
2 and 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
Now, that's not to say I don't have a list with 6 and 6.
Talking about minimum here.
I think
That
2 is the safe minimum.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Transports are big this edition. That's one thing people probably sleep on is transports are really big this edition. This edition is fast. It's to the point. We only got 4 rounds as of right now. I think some of the newer missions are gonna get another round. I think is that confirmed anywhere? I remember a rumor of that going around.
Heard that the new Mechanicum book that came out, the new journal, has a mission that goes to 5.
Okay.
Um, I'll, I'll be honest, I haven't purchased that book yet.
Yep.
Not to say it's because I'm not going to purchase it. I don't play
I probably
Mechanicum,
will.
I don't play Mechanicum, so I'm not going to purchase that book. Uh,
Mm.
I probably still should, to be honest, but
I'll probably buy it for us, and because there's always a dream of me getting 3 Thanatars out there, but I just don't want to
ugh.
learn Mechanicum. I don't want to learn Mechanicum. They're the new Thousand Suns, as in they have a lot of complexity and a lot of things popping off, and their stuff gets really confusing.
I just think you haven't sat down and dedicated time to it like you have your over obsession with list building. I think that's
Yeah.
the first thing.
Hey, at least I cracked down on my Iron Warriors list, and I'm pretty sure I have it to where I want it.
I'm proud of you, Bernice.
Now I just gotta crack the Custodies, which I actually think I have a list for now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, with the little tech we talked about this morning that I don't think I've seen anyone really do, which I thought was pretty funny. But anyways, the unit that I was sleeping on, guys, that I think is just well, let me start with the weapon that I was sleeping on because me and Gabe go back and forth. Gabe likes lightning claws. I can't put myself to take double lightning claws because it takes away from the one weapon that I've been sleeping on, combi bolters. Combi bolters are crazy. I am liking the random firepower of shooting 20 to sometimes 40 shots of just death at people and just say, give me 12 saves, give me a certain amount of saves. With volley attack being a thing, with Overwatch being a thing, I think combi bolters are good. That's one thing that I was sleeping on, was that volume of fire. Same thing with the tactical marines because they got the Fury of the Legion. Their bolters, getting 30 shots with those. I've been sleeping on volume of fire this edition. I shouldn't be.
Do you think the volume of fire matters? That's why I'm kind of worried about the day that somebody decides to bring an all infantry death guard list and they're just gonna bolter the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the
hint,
day
hint,
somebody's
wink,
like,
wink.
well, no, it's like the day somebody shows up with death guard and they're like, here's my 320-man units of death guard. I would be like, ugh.
I like it with Sons of Horus.
They're not bad
No.
because they can volley fire like some bitch.
Yeah. That's probably my dream, boys. To put 10 Cataphractii Terminators with the combi bolter and doing 120 shots.
My pipe dream is a little bit different. My pipe dream is gonna hurt some people's feelings. I want to bring a list of nothing but rapier batteries. Said it. I don't give a shit about scoring. I just want to shoot stuff. I want to do hood rat shit with my friends.
There's still the dream that you let me use your Ultramarines and I just come out with all the tac squads you have and all the Fulminataris Terminators and just walk at them and be like, deal with me. Fury of the Legion and combi bolters galore. Just
walking out there being like Taylor Swift. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
I do have a question for the viewers though, because there is a question I want answered. I want to know what everybody's like go to. This is my jam unit is because I know what it is for me. My go to like this is gonna be part of my gimmick in majority of my lists is, dude, I think it's gonna be a command squad.
mine's the unit I've been sleeping on. Mine's going to be Mortificator with 3 Contemptors. That's my go-to right now.
Mine's gonna be the
I'm
Aether Fire cannons.
yeah, it doesn't. Ugh.
Hmm.
Although
But
I
I
will say, I did learn, and you guys would be proud of me. I did some learnings. There is a tactical support squad that has the Aether Fire Blaster, which is the one that's in my Osiris Dreadnought's hand, and they're like plasma guys that don't overload with 2 shots. They're kind of gross, and they're a tactical support, so they're like half the price of these heavy supports.
I'm
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm leaning toward a command squad with lightning claws and just run up, just
Just
Stab, stab,
here's 72
stab, stab.
wounds. Pick up all these Marines.
Like stab, stab.
Yep.
I have to start pivoting away from my word bearers. 'Cause I'm going to play them throughout the year still, but at the end of the year they're going to be gone, and I need to pivot into what I'm actually going to be able to play with all the time.
Yeah, I got a few stuff I think I need to pick up for my custodes that I still don't have, but my Iron Warriors are pretty solid. I think I have everything that I need for them. Like I said, my go-to is gonna be the 3 Contemptors. Just because, as Gabe said, I have a problem with list building, and I figured that unit has been the most, for me, Swiss Army knife that I could build in a just an army. You know, you could go double fist with some shootiness, with some Melta or some flamers, or you could just go like plasma cannon galore and have them be range bots if your army isn't a shooting army. If you have a melee army, you need some gunpowder on the cheap. There it is, right there. I mean, yes, for cheaper cost and more damage output, you could just bring Vindicators, but their Vindicators aren't that like they're not that Swiss Army knife. If you already have all shooting and you just bring more Vindicators, that's not really helping you in the melee front. But yes, Vindicators are cheaper, and you could be the problem and bring 3 of those.
I don't know. I'm liking Predators more than I'm liking Vindicators. I do also want to point out that my opinions shouldn't carry a ton of weight in this matter because I play the game differently than most people. I
yeah,
play
that
the
just
game.
oh.
I play the game in such a way that I'm okay with throwing away units to achieve a goal. I play really. I play very
Gabe, why did you
calculated.
do that? You're gonna lose all of those guys. Yeah, but I'm gonna kill that squad.
No, I don't even think of it that
Uh,
way. I always think of it more in a sense of like this squad is going to die, but they're going to buy me one more turn on this objective, or this squad is going to go over here and they're not going to be able to score me points, but they're going to keep you from doing a certain thing. I play very, very analytical.
Which is why you played Ultramarines.
Yeah. Yeah, I play very analytical. And it's really funny watching me play an army that's outside of that box. So like when people are like, hey Gabe, you should play World Eaters, I turn into a moron. Because I'm like, is this where I'm supposed to hit him with the stick? Like I'm telling you, I'm useless sometimes when I'm playing a new army. It takes me a while to dial in how I can use my play style effectively with that army. And then there's guys like Duncan that are like, I follow the ABCs. I'm like, the ABCs, like, yep, always be charging. Brr.
you,
So
you have to find your play style, and that's what a lot of people need to figure out when they see a list or they hear us talking about stuff and they go and they use it and it doesn't work out for them. You need to find your playstyle. You need to find your jam. You need to find that reliable unit that you like using because you're going to find something that no one else thought of and people aren't going to be expecting it. And yeah, that I encourage everyone to go find a random unit that they love that they could use to great success because not a lot of people are going to see it coming. Everyone sees the Kratos coming. That's a bigger problem because you got to have something to deal with it.
Yeah, but can you deal with 2?
Yeah, with my 2, Kyle.
Oh, Mister, I don't think you should bring 2. I don't think you should bring 2 because you're gonna get stuck. I'm bringing 2.
And I still agree with my statement in the beginning. It all depends on the terrain.
Yeah.
I have a
Put
list right now
put
that
one in
doesn't have a
reserves and wait for
Kratos.
them to kill your one, and then you just put the other one where that one died. There you go.
See, but then
That
do we
was a joke.
remove the other Kratos or do we keep it as terrain?
That's a good question because they don't explode, right?
They don't explode, and like this, I'll tell you, this is one of those rules that's just gonna. Oh,
I
Christian
know.
already
I
knows
did it
he's
on
gonna
purpose.
button.
I did it on purpose. I said that on purpose. We talk about people fighting with rules. Let's go. Do you remove the model or you keep the model?
You keep the model. You keep the model on the table. You keep the model on the table. Wreckage
Yeah, I
is
don't
record.
need. I'm not even saying what I need to say out loud, and Gabe already hears it. That's why he keeps on saying you keep the model.
Goddamn, math is math.
Does it say the model now becomes terrain in the rule book?
No, no,
It's up to the
no.
players.
It's up to the players.
It's
It's the
something that y'all.
single. It's the single most irritating thing ever.
And no one talks about it at the beginning or games, and I don't think I've actually seen anyone pull it in any of their tournament rules because it's just something that like you should probably just agree on before you do the match. But people go halfway through turn one, or they go through the whole turn one and go to when they're on round two, they're just like, oh, wait.
Yeah. So that you understand why this bothers me so much, Kyle. The rule reads verbatim. Are you ready?
Yes.
When a model with the vehicle type is reduced to 0 points, that model is removed as a casualty in the same manner as other models. However, players may choose to use the optional wrecked vehicle special rule to represent the broken hulls of destroyed vehicles. Wrecked vehicle. A vehicle that is reduced to 0 hull points is removed as a casualty, which means the model itself is removed from the battlefield. Some players may wish to leave the model on the battlefield to represent a wreck. If both players agree to the use of wrecked vehicles, then the following special rules apply. A wrecked vehicle. When a model with a vehicle type is removed as a casualty, the model is replaced with a wreck. If the model also has the explode special rule and the special rule is triggered, it will not be replaced with a wreck. A wreck. A wreck is a type of area terrain that counts as both difficult and dangerous terrain, grants a 6-up cover save. For the rules of targeting, it counts as light area terrain.
So you
Now,
can't. Does it block line of sight?
no, because it's light area terrain. But
light area terrain.
So
here's
there's no point.
no.
No, there is.
There is. Here's the problem. Here's the big one. Okay. It doesn't say when we have to agree. So I can treat this shit on a case by case basis. I want this one to stay, but I want that one to go.
There was a
Well,
game
I
in
think once you
TXO that I
establish
really
the
didn't.
rule,
I didn't really bring up because it wasn't a problem. I made it where it wasn't a problem, but there was a point where y'all know me. I was jumping back in and out of rhinos like a madman with reactions. So that means my rhino's always in front of the point. My rhino was specifically like placed in this guy in front of this person to where the rhino it got destroyed. You're right. If I were not to remove that rhino and keep it there, and he would have to use it as terrain rules, he wouldn't have made it on that objective. If I was an asshole, we could have fought that rule, and I could have been like, "Nah, keep it there." But no, I just removed it. I was like, "Hey, you want to remove this rhino?" He said, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, sure, let's go." Keep the game rolling. But in a situation like that, when you're playing, that could cause a lot of problems, Kyle.
I think this is a common issue with the game in general. Is when there are rules that are open to interpretation. And you guys have seen me do this, right? When I show up to a table to play a game, I'll be like, "Hey, what are we treating this terrain as?" I'm not asking for my fucking health, boys. I am asking for my goddamn sanity. because I've had games where I'll show up and you quit laughing at me, Kyle.
What do you do when someone looks at you and go, "Well, did you read the 12-page mission packet?"
No, I'll flat out. Well, and here's another problem. And like much to Seth and Jack's disappointment, if my opponent goes, "That's light terrain," guess what, motherfuckers? That is light terrain now. Me and my opponent agreed on it. It's in the book. We agreed on it. I don't care. Gabe, well, for this mission, it's medium terrain. Well, me and my opponent said it was light.
Yeah, my opponent said there's no terrain on the map. Fuck you.
This is all tall grass. So I always ask beforehand, like I said, for my sanity, because nothing's ever been more frustrating than we start getting through a game and the quality of the game and the quality of the fun that I'm having is affected by we didn't agree on this beforehand. And now it either feels opportunistic to me or opportunistic to you. So I'm going to try to ask those questions early in the game. But when you have rules that specifically say, like, fuck it, go with what you feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
your left or my left? Go with what
yeah,
you
like,
feel. You're a moron.
It's bad, Math is math. The tanks stay on the table. If they don't explode, they stay on the table. I've always played in the sense of if you detonate a tank, pieces go everywhere. It's not there anymore. But if you just wreck it, it's like a car parked on a road, bro. Like it's there. It's in the way now. You can honk. It's not going anywhere. But again, that's a personal Gabe opinion. There might be some people that are like, no, it slows down the game, which is a valid point. And I can tell that you do bad in traffic.
You're the kind of person that gets out of the merge or that gets out of the lane and goes all the way up on the left-hand lane and then merges back in the lane we're in, causing more traffic.
Yeah, I would imagine that if you're the kind of person who's like, oh, they get in the way, I'm like, oh, he doesn't use turn signals.
Merge into 4 lanes of traffic. Okay, good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everyone else.
Hit my turn. I go now.
I love Family Guy.
So yeah, the tanks stay.
I don't agree with you, Gabe.
I
My whole ass, Christian. Is that what you're gonna say? Is that what you're gonna say?
from the left to the right.
I hope you got a big day. I hope you have an empty schedule.
From the left to the right, bro. You can eat my whole ass. Moving on. Actually, I think that's the end of our rant.
Maybe.
I think we're out of things to ramble about today. But I do have to gear up for Adepticon. Bless you.
I tried muting my mic. Thank you.
Well, yeah, gonna be ramping up for Adepticon. So I'm probably not gonna be gaming as much with like the Victoria guys and stuff like that. I know I'm trying to get some games with Christian in person here soon. So if you're in the Colleen area, we're probably gonna be meeting there for a game if you want to hang out. It's kind of a Miss Cleo thing. We don't know where, we don't know when, but it's gonna happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So
there's that, and if you want to come in and play a 1,500 point game, give us a shout. Me and Gabe are trying to get some games together for the 2v2s. So just Give us a shout if you want to play any game. Honestly, if you want to play a 3,000 point game, hit me up. I know Gabe's focusing on the 1,500 point game, but if you want to play a full game and learn the rules, just hit me up and we'll sign you up for TTS. Show you how to use. I'll show you how to use it, and I'll play a game with you. We'll answer any questions y'all have.
Yeah,
You got it.
definitely the TTS stuff is available. We're totally on the board with that. I'm gonna get more reps in. I know me and my boy Eric, we're getting ready for Acon. I know that Seth and Lance are getting ready for Acon. Whoever else is going, if you're going, by all means, feel free to stop by, have a drink, chill. Tell me I'm an idiot, I'm wrong, and that tanks should disappear off the table. Whatever. Shut up, Christian. And yeah, but beyond that, I think that's going to be the end for today. So as always, thanks for the time. Thanks for listening. Happy dice, happy life. Fuck Erebus
Erebus.
as always. Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
Erebus. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Adios.